What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the FRS build. Today we are going to be doing the DoD delete on the LS3. Well, technically it's an L99, and that's why we're doing the DoD delete. So we're basically going to be turning this thing into an LS3. We're going to be throwing on some go fast parts. We're going to put in a new cam and a couple other sicky items to get ready to test fit the engine into the engine bay. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we got to do is we need to pull off the engine harness and then start taking everything: intake manifold, fuel rail, coils, valve covers, front accessories, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Hopefully this doesn't take too long, but we're going to take our time though, so that way we can make sure that we've got everything we need in the places that we need them. Alright, harness is off, and I think I want to tackle the front accessories first before I start pulling off anything else, just to give it a nice clean look, so that way I can get started on the heads and everything else. I've got these boxes that are for organizing. They come with these nice removable inserts. So I'm going to use this for right now to store all the bolts and everything in. I actually got an entire, I'm sure you guys have seen this thing in the background, but I've got an entire cabinet of these things. They're nice. They come with all different sizes. So these are good for organizing. You can get them from Fastenal. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the front accessories. Alright, so what I did there to get this off was I used my 3-jaw puller, and then the flange of the bolt was stopping it, and so I decided to grind it down so that way it would fit on the inside of the pulley and the pulley would pass over it. I would only recommend doing this if you have another bolt to replace the crank pulley bolt, which you should be doing anyways because they are technically one-time use bolts, so you should be replacing that, and they're so cheap anyways that there's no reason to not get a new bolt. But anyways, so I ground this down so it'll fit through the pulley, and it slid off super easily. I'll probably keep this as a new tool. The last one that I did on the 4.8 was really easy, and that one slid off no problem. So I was hoping that with this one it wouldn't be an issue like the 4.8, but it was on there pretty good. So yeah, just grind this down to fit through there, and now you got yourself a new tool. So let's go ahead and get the rest of this stuff off here. We'll get the intake manifold off. Should be able to pull the fuel rail with this and everything, so that way I don't have to take apart all the injectors and everything like that, because I don't need to. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get all the top stuff off, and let's keep going. Intake manifold is off. You can see it's a little dirty down here. Not too bad. I'll clean that up and make sure nothing gets down into those ports there. This valley cover's got to come off because we're replacing that. That's part of the DoD delete system or kit. Yeah, so let's go ahead and we'll get the valve covers off. Actually, you know what? Let's take the exhaust manifolds off. Those got to come off anyways because the new Sicky headers. So let's pop those off, and then yeah, valve covers, and heads, and then all this other stuff. I'm sure you guys have all seen the insides of an LS valve train. So just doing this for my own record to make sure I put everything back in the right spot. This crossover has got to come off, and then all this needs to come out, rockers. And then I can start to pull out the bolts in here and get the heads off. Okay, so before I pull the heads off, I want to I'm gonna soak my lifters. Now, I've done a little bit of research on this, and people seem to have their own opinions about this. Either soak them or don't soak them. I'm not exactly, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do. I've heard more often than not to soak them. But then after doing a little bit of research and digging, some people are saying don't, because it messes with the preload when you're setting the lifters and the valve springs and everything. So I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go ahead and soak them for a little bit. Most people say to do it for 24 hours. I'm gonna soak them for a little bit, but as you can see, they come in a bag covered in oil, so I really don't know if these have already been pre-soaked or not. I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in this engine oil here just for a little bit while I take the heads off, and I really don't know. Hopefully it doesn't mess them up. I don't think it will. I mean, I don't think it will mess them up in a sense of like they won't work, but I just don't know if I'm going to be messing with the preload or not. So I don't know. Let's go ahead and put them in the oil, and hopefully nothing bad happens. One side off. Still got to pull the lifter trays and lifters out. So we'll get this side out. And it seems to look okay. I mean, it should. This is a crate motor, and it only had last season and half of 2020 on it, so it's still pretty new. Not a lot of miles on this block. Let's go ahead and get the other side taken care of. heads are off, lifters are out, valley cover's off. It's pretty interesting to look at some of this stuff and see how rough it is. I don't know if you can see that, but you would think that the casting would be a little bit smoother, but this looks like it was hand ground, which is strange. I don't know if there's like some issues in the assembly line, and then they have some templates or something that they can grind down on just to make sure everything, like maybe there's some flashing from the casting and then they have to grind it off by hand, but I don't know, kind of neat. So yeah, I got to take the front cover off, and then we can pull everything behind it, the timing gear, the oil pump, because I am also replacing that, and then we'll slide the cam out and then start the install. Got the timing chain off and the cam gear. This is pretty interesting. These Torx bits, screws or bolts, that look like they're holding on the plate for the camshaft. Pretty interesting. You know, this is a single bolt camshaft for the it had that cam phaser on it and everything, so it's kind of interesting to see because I'm used to seeing 3-bolt cams, so it's kind of neat just to see what this looks like while I'm pulling everything off. This is actually the bolt that came out of it, so this stuff's kind of cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna take this off, and then hopefully I can just slide the cam out, and we'll just keep going. I'm getting ready to put the cam in. I'm gonna put a little bit of assembly lube on here. I got the cam just sitting here in the box, so I'm gonna go ahead and Alright, keep going. There we go. Next, I'm assuming would be putting the lifters and everything in, because we got to make sure that the timing is right. I don't want to put the cam in and then put the cam gear on and rotate it around. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a little bit of quick looking up here on the old internet and see what they say. I'm trying to remember because I've only done this one other time, and that was on the 4.8, but at the time I didn't have the heads off or anything. I used the old dowel rod trick to slide in and keep the lifters up, so that way they wouldn't fall down into the onto the cam. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do some thinking here real quick and then we'll get back to it. So I'm gonna put on the camshaft retainer, this piece. It just slides right back over there, and bolts get torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. I use a little bit of blue Permatex Loctite. I'm using blue because that's what it looks like was on there. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm just gonna do like a little bit just to give myself peace of mind, I guess. I don't want those things backing out. I don't want any bolt in here backing out. So I'll be using Loctite, or a thread locker, since this is not Loctite brand. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this down, get that on, show you what it looks like when I'm done. And done. That's on. Alright, next I believe would be the cam gear. Chain tensioner. With the LS2 style tensioner and LS2 style chain. Let's see. Supposedly it's better than the OEM. It's what everybody tells me. I'm just following along. People have been doing this long before I have. So, alright, cam gear next. Got the cam gear on and the timing chain and the tensioner, LS2 timing chain. So, this is the OEM cam. There's a part number. I'll have to flip it around to see it. 125864881. And then these are ARP 3-bolt. Those are torqued down to 22 foot-pounds. These are 18 foot-pounds. Put a little bit of blue Loctite on these as well. So now I'm going to put on the Moroso oil pump. It's a little dirty because I already test fit this earlier to make sure that everything was lining up right. So throw that on there, bolt that down, and then I believe we'll be all set to do the cover and everything, but I'm going to hold off on doing the cover until I get the lifters and everything in. So we are lined up. There's a dot here on the crankshaft gear and then the camshaft gear, so you want to make sure that this is at 12 o'clock and this is at 6 o'clock. The dowel pin for the camshaft will be at the 3 o'clock position, and that'll put you at top dead center on piston 1. So this will be hopefully correct when throwing everything back together. I'm assuming so, that it will all be in time. That's my hope. Again, just going by kind of my past history as well as some of the forums and stuff that people are, giving their advice on. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue. Oh, probably gonna put a little bit of assembly lube on the chain here. I know some people will soak these things, but I feel like if I just put a little bit of assembly lube on here, we'll be alright. Okay, yep, next part. Got the oil pump on. These are also 18 foot-pounds. Obviously use more blue thread locker. I gotta make sure I don't keep saying Loctite because I'm not using Loctite. It's like saying, can you get me a Kleenex? That's a brand. So, anyways. Oil pumps on. This is like I said, this is a Moroso high volume oil pump. It also comes with a spring to make it a high pressure, but for our application, my application, I want a high volume oil pump. So also the logo for this is on the back side. And that's why when I was test fitting it earlier, I got very confused because I would have assumed that the logo would have been on the outside, and when I slid it on there, the bolt holes did not line up. So I panicked for a quick second, and then realized that I needed to just turn it around. So light bulb. Yeah, so who would have known that the logo on the oil pump is supposed to be on the inside? Weird branding, but either way. So next up is going to be the lifters. Going to take them out of the oil here. Oh, here are my cam specs, if anybody is interested. There's the part number. This is a stage 2. Okay, let's go ahead and get the, I'm going to set this down. Go ahead and get the lifters going. Need another glove. Okay, these have squares, you know, flat sides. So I'm going to make sure that you put the flat side of the lifter in with the flat side of the lifter tray. And there's a hole on the sides of these where the oil comes in, and the orientation doesn't really matter because the oil is going to get to these no matter what. Okay, and again, these are LS7 style lifters. We did it. Look at that. Just need to throw those bolts in. Lifters are on. Okay, I got you guys up here on top of the lift pump, just so that way you can see me torque this thing down. I don't know that there's a proper torque sequence for this. I couldn't find anything online other than just these all get torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. So I'm just gonna kind of like work my way like crisscross and out, just to kind of even the distribution here. But something interesting, this is an L92 valley plate, valley cover, whatever you want to call it, and it's completely flat on the bottom. This is the L99 valley cover, and you can see it's got all the stuff here for the displacement on demand. Here's the plug at the back here. So it's kind of interesting seeing all this stuff and that this is going away. This thing weighs a lot compared to the L92 valley cover. So I'm glad that that is going away. So I'm pretty much at the step where I need to start putting the heads together. It's getting a little late. I'm gonna call it a night and we'll pick back up tomorrow. Okay, see ya. Day 2, we're back at it out in the shop here. I did a little bit of cleaning up just so that way I could feel a little bit more organized for the day. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get started taking the valve springs out. So this threaded rod's got an Allen key in the top of it. I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of oil in the threads and on the threads as well. Can't hurt. Just tighten it down so it's snug, don't over tighten. And then this goes over top. Comes with 2 washers. I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm going to use both of them. A little bit more oil on the threads here. Okay, let's see how it works. So I'm not impressed with this thing at all. For one, the valve keeps lifting up with the towel placed under the head. I gotta figure that out. I've only ever changed valve springs on the engine, which I think I might end up doing this again. I've got a air compressor fitting that will go into the spark plug, compress the cylinder, and I can take the springs off that way. So I think I'm gonna do that. But this thing, as much as I oiled it, it started to deteriorate and just get metal shavings. Luckily, there's really none in the head. I'm gonna go back and double check, but the threads started to strip out on this, and I barely put any pressure on this thing, so I would not recommend this tool. I am not gonna put a link in the description for this thing because like I said, I oiled it. I did exactly what their how-to video shows you, and I compressed the spring twice off camera, and it started to strip out. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and put the heads on, put the gaskets on and everything, and then take the spark plugs out of the heads, and then we will go ahead and compress the cylinders. I've got like a magnetic hammer tool that I've used before that works really well for getting them off. It's a little tricky getting the retainers and everything on using that tool. You got to compress it a lot, and with going to dual springs, it's going to be quite a large amount of force. So we'll figure it out as we go, and let's go ahead and get the heads on. So we got everything torqued down on the driver's side. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the process on the passenger side, and catch you guys in a minute. All right, I got all the valve springs in. Everything looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and put the push rods and the rocker arms on, get the valve covers on and everything. So I'm just gonna kind of start skipping ahead with some stuff. I just kind of want to get this thing all buttoned up and done. So yeah, it's everything after this is just kind of put it all back together the same way you took it apart. So I just I'm gonna go ahead and hurry up with that, and then I'm gonna put the Sicky oil pan on and just keep plugging away. We got everything on the engine, so it was very interesting getting the oil pan on. They don't tell you that you have to put the remote locator. Where is it? This guy. I didn't realize that needed to go on first. That was my bad. It's interesting that they moved the dipstick over to the driver's side on this thing. I need to figure out, once the headers are on, where the bolt is up. I think it goes here, but I don't know if it'll interfere with the plug there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything. Just a couple little things to put on here. I gotta put the crankshaft pulley back on, and then we'll just keep moving along with the project. So I really appreciate you guys checking out the videos and sticking through and watching all this stuff, because a lot of it is new to me. I'm learning still. I've only done some engine work on an LS once before, but yeah, so it's a new experience. I hope you guys enjoy it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.